And I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet
You want to body slam me? Fine, I'll just drop 21 on you. That was pretty much Sophie Cunningham's answer after Mystics rookie Kiki Iriafen hit her with a flagrant foul that could have seriously hurt the Fever's newest addition.
This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There is an attack agenda.
In a preseason game that was anything but friendly, the Indiana Fever showed a side we didn't see much of last year: real grit, unity, and the drive to stand up for one another. Even with Caitlin Clark out due to a lingering left leg issue, the Fever made it clear they're not a team to be pushed around anymore. It felt like the start of a new chapter, with players like Cunningham, Hull, and Bonner stepping up and showing they won't be backing down from anyone. In this video, we'll break down everything that went down, the heated response from Sophie and the Fever, and how the Washington Mystics reacted after things got physical. If you're rocking with Indiana, drop a spicy Sophie in the comments. Let's get into it.
This is the first time we're witnessing this. They're attacking Sophie Cunningham just like they did Caitlin last year. There is an agenda against this basketball team, and I'm calling it out right now. The league better step in immediately. They better step in immediately. We better not be dealing with what we dealt with last year with Caitlin.
What happens when your franchise star is on the bench? For the Indiana Fever, it meant heading into their preseason opener against the Washington Mystics without Caitlin Clark. And this wasn't just any absence. It was the first game Clark had missed in 5 years, covering her entire college run at Iowa and the start of her WNBA journey. Coach Stephanie White made the tough but smart decision to rest Clark, who mentioned feeling a bit of tightness in her left leg. "We need to think long-term," White said, choosing to protect her star with a demanding season ahead that includes 4 more games than last year. A smart call for the future, but in the moment, it left the Fever exposed and vulnerable.
I mean, look, the biggest thing is we got to think long-term. Like, we got to make sure that we're not putting Caitlin at risk for injury. We're not putting our team in a position, where we're thinking short-term and not long-term. It's a long season, 4 more games than last season. So we want to make sure that we're extra cautious and put her health and wellness first and foremost. And honestly, it's been one day at a time. How she's reacted to treatment, how she's reacted to workouts. So positive progress is being made, but we can't be short-sighted.
The first quarter was rough for Indiana. They quickly fell behind, getting outscored 24-13 as the Mystics took full control. Missed layups, no rhythm on offense. The Fever looked completely out of sync. The gap stretched to 15 points, and fans couldn't help but wonder if the game was already over before it even got going.
This team came out very slow, very lethargic, very stuck in the mud, very dragging ass, didn't have energy to them, didn't have flow to them.
Picture this. The Washington Mystics, sensing a vulnerable opponent, came out swinging from the opening tip. Their physicality set the tone right away, bullying the Fever and daring someone to rise in Caitlin Clark's absence. They smelled blood in the water, and for a moment, it looked like they were on track for an easy win over a Clarkless Fever squad.
Stephanie White seemed frustrated. We were down 15. Stephanie White called the timeout, and she must have stuck her foot up her team's ass and said, you see this arena? You see all these fans that came to watch you guys? 12,461 people. They didn't come to watch you guys bullshit. They didn't come to watch you guys drag ass. Let's play some defense and let's get it together offensively.
Meanwhile, an unexpected hero stepped up. Lexi Hull, coming off the bench with relentless energy and hustle, she began shifting the momentum. Hull grabbed 4 steals, throwing off Washington's rhythm, and chipped in 13 crucial points to keep Indiana in the fight. Kelsey Mitchell gave her credit for doing the dirty work and delivering the spark exactly when the team needed it most.
Lexi Hull looked the most confident I've ever seen Lexi Hull look. Lexi Hull looked the most confident I have ever seen Lexi Hull look, putting the ball on the ground, taking it to the rack, shooting threes, middies, turnaround fades. Whether they went in or not, we can get into that another day once the season starts. But the fact that she's confident enough in her game to where she's at least willing to try to do something to make the offense happen, to create points, to create confusion among the defense.
Despite the early struggles and falling behind by double digits, the Fever showed something special. Resilience. Instead of using their superstar's absence as an excuse, they took it as a challenge. Players began finding their rhythm. The defense locked in, and suddenly that big lead didn't feel so out of reach.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, these two players. Sophie Cunningham gave us 21, Lexi Hull gave us 13. The Blonde Bombers is what they're calling them. We were down 15 in the first half. Why were we down 15? We cut it to within 3 at halftime.
So how did the Fever stay in the fight without Caitlin Clark? It wasn't about one player trying to fill her 20-point shoes. It was a team effort. Unexpected heroes stepped up, played with heart, and refused to fold under Washington's physical pressure. But the Mystics had no idea their rough style was about to backfire. Big time. Midway through the second quarter, just as Indiana started to find their rhythm, the game took a wild turn. With 5 minutes left in the half, Mystics rookie Kiki Iriafen delivered what looked like a full-on body slam to Sophie Cunningham, flipping the momentum in an instant.
I know it wasn't announced that Caitlin Clark wouldn't play until right before, but this is a preseason game where Clark is not available, and yet you probably...
This wasn't just a tough basketball play. It looked more like something out of a wrestling ring. Sophie Cunningham, who joined the Fever this offseason in a 4-team trade, had been quietly finding her groove and helping chip away at Washington's lead. She was cutting without the ball, creating space, and giving the Mystics defense problems. Then came the moment that flipped the entire game. A confrontation that changed everything.
Probably have 10,000 people here and a real home court advantage.
That's Sophie Cunningham. There you go. I mean, she's right there saying, don't you do that. She's telling the rookie right now.
As both players fought for a rebound, Iriafen grabbed Cunningham and threw her to the hardwood with brutal force. The crowd gasped, and for a brief moment, teammates on both sides stood frozen. Then, in an instant, Cunningham bounced back up, charging right at Iriafen, getting in her face.
And that's Kiki Iriafen, and I got to tell you, here we go with the smiling like you've done. I don't get it. This is the worst part of the WNBA. It is.
You don't do that. You don't do that, Cunningham shouted, her words cutting through the tension, clear even from the broadcast. The officials rushed in to separate the two, but the damage was already done. They reviewed the play and handed Iriafen a flagrant 1 foul, a call that, honestly, seemed pretty lenient, given how dangerous the move looked.
I mean, yikes. Kiki, the new Kennedy. A lot of people not happy. Demon Sophie, yeah, she showed up. Look at this. They're celebrating that. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. Here we go again. Here we go again. She's yelling while Kiki's laughing in her face. Never seen a rook have a vet so rattled.
But the Mystics weren't done targeting Cunningham. Later in the game, Brittany Sykes delivered another unnecessary shove, sending Cunningham crashing to the floor once more. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't basketball. It was bullying, plain and simple. A clear pattern was emerging, with Washington players deliberately singling out Cunningham.
This was another one right here. This was Brittany Sykes, and DeWanna Bonner got involved in this one. She did. Little standing on business.
The Fever's bench erupted. This wasn't the same Indiana team that got pushed around last season. Veteran addition, Dana Bonner, immediately stepped in to confront Sykes, showcasing the new protective culture taking root within the team. The message was clear: mess with one Fever player, and you mess with all of them. What was most fascinating was how these incidents flipped the game entirely. The Mystics thought they were being tough, trying to intimidate their opponent. Instead, they woke up a sleeping giant in Cunningham and united the entire Fever squad. The officials reviewed both incidents, handed out penalties, and the game continued. But something fundamental had shifted on the court. The energy was different. The Fever weren't backing down. They were fired up. Coach White later described Cunningham as a dog, basketball slang for a player with relentless fight and heart.
Oh my God, Sophie's a dog. She just is. She's a competitor. She's versatile, so she allows us to do different things. Like, she plays with such a toughness. She's huge, and she's going to be for us all season long. But what she brings from an energy standpoint, she raises the level of play of everybody around her as soon as she steps foot on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. I mean, her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor.
So, what sparked these confrontations? Was it frustration from the Mystics as their lead shrank? Or was it a deliberate attempt to intimidate the Fever's new addition? Whatever Washington's plan was, it completely backfired. Instead of breaking Cunningham's spirit, they ignited her competitive fire. Rather than intimidating the Fever, they united them. And rather than sealing a win, they set the stage for one of the most satisfying comebacks you could imagine. The Mystics tried to bully Sophie Cunningham, and they were about to regret it. How do you respond when opponents try to physically intimidate you? Sophie Cunningham had a simple answer: drop 21 points and lead your team to victory. That's exactly what she did, following those brutal confrontations with the Mystics.
Lexi Hull gets a nice steal here, runs down the court, finds Sophie Cunningham, who pumps up the
Drawn on the drive. High arcing pass, it was too high. Hull pulls down the rebound. Here's Cunningham again. Cunningham coast to coast.
What a first half for Sophie Cunningham.
Oh, yeah. And this is as we've clawed back after being down 15.
After getting body slammed by Iriafen, something visibly shifted in Cunningham's approach. The anger in her eyes transformed into laser-like focus. You could see it in her movements. More decisive, more aggressive. She wasn't just playing basketball anymore. She was making a statement. Cunningham started attacking from every angle: mid-range jumpers, drives to the basket, three-pointers. Her full offensive arsenal was on display. The Mystics kept trying to body her, bump her, throw her off her game, but with every physical play, Cunningham only seemed to grow stronger and more determined. Her efficiency was remarkable: 6 for 11 from the field, nearly 55% shooting. But she was even better at the free throw line, knocking down 7 of 8 attempts for an impressive 87.5%. This wasn't just volume scoring. This was calculated, high-percentage basketball in the biggest moments.
Sophie Cunningham, 12 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal in 11 minutes off the bench in the first half. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull played a majority of this game for the Indiana Fever. And they played together a majority of the time they were in this game. Sophie Cunningham showed exactly why we brought her in here. We won that trade hands down. Hands down, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We won the Sophie Cunningham trade.
But Cunningham's impact went beyond just scoring. She crashed the boards for 8 rebounds, hustled for loose balls, and played with an intensity that energized the entire team. This is exactly why Coach White called her a dog after the game. Basketball's highest compliment for a player who brings relentless fight.
Austin looking backdoor and got it to Cunningham.
You guys know what else we're seeing in all these videos? Movement. AB. Up there comes Kelsey around the top. There goes Lexi Hull. Back door. Sophie Cunningham. Back door. Lexi Hull goes back out to the corner. God forbid, folks, we are seeing things that we haven't seen at all last season.
As the fourth quarter unfolded, the Fever's comeback gained serious momentum, with Cunningham at the heart of their attack. The Mystics' once 15-point lead vanished completely. The game headed into overtime, setting the stage for Cunningham's final act of revenge. In the extra period, Cunningham took full control, clutch baskets, crucial free throws. She delivered when it mattered most. The Mystics players who had tried to intimidate her earlier could only watch as she systematically dismantled their defense.
I saw Sophie Cunningham playing out of this world. Made me feel good. I saw ball movement on offense. Made me feel good. I saw no volleyball passes on. Made me feel good. I saw fight from everybody that was on the court at once. There was no 4 versus 5 when it came to fight, heart on the. We weren't lacking that today. We weren't lacking heart at all. And in case people thought this team might be lacking some heart, you got one thing coming to you. You think you're going to be pushing around Sophie Cunningham like that? Don't worry. Sophie, I got this.
Coach White didn't hold back her praise. She raises the level of play for everyone around her as soon as she steps on the floor. Hell, even on the sideline. Her communication, everything. She's definitely an X factor. The irony was perfect. The very player Washington had targeted ended up being the primary reason for their defeat. The intimidation tactics completely backfired. Instead of breaking Cunningham, they unleashed her. How did Sophie Cunningham respond to being body slammed by Kiki Iriafen? By torching the Mystics for a game-high 21 points, grabbing 8 rebounds, and delivering the knockout blow in overtime. The message was crystal clear. You can try to bully Sophie Cunningham, but you'll regret it when she makes you pay on the scoreboard.
We have people that aren't going to put up with the nonsense this year. You want to try the Fever? Go ahead and try us. Go ahead and try. 1 through 5. Somebody's going to step up and get in your face. Someone's going to step up and say, you need to relax. Whether it's DeWanna Bonner here or Sophie Cunningham on the bottom of your screen. You mess with this team, we have some people that are going to stand up for themselves and stand up for others.
When the final buzzer sounded at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, something far bigger than a preseason win had just unfolded. We witnessed the birth of a completely different Indiana Fever team. Last season, this was a squad that opponents could push around. Teams would get physical, and the Fever would often back down, but not anymore.
Well, first and foremost, they play so hard. They play with multiple levels of effort. They're both just tough as nails. They have length. They use their length really well. Their activity level on the defensive end and offensively. I mean, they're like mirror images of one another. I mean, the way that they can cut, the way that they can spread the floor, and what they bring on the defensive end of the floor.
The most telling moment came after the game. Washington Mystics players, the same ones who delivered body slams and shoves throughout the night, refused to shake hands. They walked straight to the locker room. Why? Because they had just witnessed their own tactics get turned against them by a team they thought they could bully. Over 12,000 fans packed the arena, creating an electric atmosphere. The crowd erupted with every defensive stop, every made basket, and especially when Fever players stood up for each other after those cheap shots. Sophie Cunningham noticed, calling the fans the sixth man and crediting their energy for fueling the comeback.
You want to make sure that your home court is special to you as a team, but you want to make it hard as heck for other people to come in here to Gainbridge, and they don't want to play here, right? And I think with that, as an energy player, you got to get your fans involved. That's our sixth man right there.
This was a total team transformation. Lexi Hull snatched 4 steals, dove for loose balls, and disrupted passing lanes. Her defensive intensity perfectly complementing Cunningham's offensive explosion. Mitchell, Boston, Hull, and Cunningham, they all showed the new identity taking shape right before our eyes. The veteran additions had completely changed the team's DNA. Cunningham and Dana Bonner weren't just adding scoring and rebounding. They were bringing an attitude, a toughness, that was spreading through the entire roster. When Iriafen body slammed Cunningham, notice how quickly Bonner stepped in. That didn't happen last year.
We put Sophie in position where she was running the point guard, right? We put Lexi in position at the end of the game where she was running the point guard. And so I'm thankful to have players like that who are comfortable being uncomfortable and doing what's necessary for our team to find success. I mean, that's part of, one of our core values is be selfless, and sometimes that means playing out of position. And I thought they both did a great job of that, but really like their energy and competitive spirit.
Coach White focused on the fundamentals that made this win possible. The Fever hit an incredible 27 of 28 free throws, 96.4%. In close games, those points at the line are often the difference between winning and losing. The defense also stepped up in a big way. I liked the fact that we picked up pretty much 94 feet, White said. I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, and gave us an opportunity to finish the game.
I liked our aggressiveness. I liked the fact that we picked up, pretty much 94 feet, that they didn't get anything easy. I mean, it's not often that you come out with a win in games where you shoot 30% from the floor. And I felt like our defense really held, gave us an opportunity to get back in the game, gave us an opportunity to finish the game.
This wasn't just a regular win. This was a statement. The Indiana Fever aren't the same team that opponents pushed around last season. They're tougher, more resilient, and they've got each other's backs when things get rough. The Mystics tried to use physical intimidation as a strategy, and it completely backfired. Instead of breaking the Fever's spirit, they unified them. Instead of establishing dominance, they awakened a sleeping giant. That's why they couldn't face the Fever in the handshake line. They had just witnessed the birth of a team that won't be bullied anymore, a team that turned their own physical tactics against them.
This isn't the soft Fever team that you can push around last year. That's, let's just push them around and bully them because nobody on that team has any to step up to us. Don't worry, we took the offseason seriously.
This preseason win showed us something truly special developing in Indiana. The Fever aren't just Caitlin Clark's team anymore. They're a group with heart, fight, and an identity built on toughness. When Clark returns to join warriors like Cunningham, Hull, and Bonner, watch out. The 2025 Fever might become the team nobody wants to face. They have scoring, defense, and now they have attitude. The message from this game couldn't be clearer. Try to bully the Indiana Fever at your own risk. They're standing up for each other. They're not backing down anymore, and they're just getting started. If you stand with Indiana, comment Spicy Sophie down below. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.